Hello and welcome back to Cello from the Beginning. We're going to be doing G string exercises today. So in the previous video, we looked at the technical adjustments we need to make with both our left hand and our right hand to play on the G string. And today we're going to be using the 1-3-4 finger pattern that you're very familiar with by this point on the G, and then doing some note reading. So as usual, a link to the sheet music is in the description, and I'm also going to bring it up on the screen now. So here's the first exercise, and before we start, let's look at where these notes are in terms of reading them. The open G is very easy. It is simply the bottom line of the bass clef, as you can see here. So our first finger, which is a note A, is the first space on the bass clef. Our third finger, which is the note B, is the second line from the bottom. And finally, our fourth finger, which is the note C, is the second space from the bottom. Now, all of these note names we've heard before. Obviously, we have a G on our D string. Our fourth finger on the D. This is a lower version, this open string, of that note. Hear it, the higher, fourth finger on the D, and the lower version. This first finger on the G that we said is the note A is a lower version of our open A string. Third finger, a B, is a lower version of first finger on the A. And then our fourth finger, C, is second finger on the A, or an even lower version, our open C string. So to begin, let's just play this first exercise. It's very straightforward, 4 of each note, simply doing the ascending finger patterns. So you can find your hand position as usual, checking fourth finger with your next open lower string. And we'll go a little faster on these. These finger patterns, by the way, all of them in this set of exercises you'll be familiar with, because they are the same patterns that we used learning the A string and the D string. So here we go, and we'll move along a little quicker now. 1, 2, ready, go. Back to open. 1, 3, 4. So there you have it, just open, 1, 3, and 4. So you can practice that. You can do it slower if you need to, and just use kind of center of the bow. You can't see because the music's in the way, but I'm playing basically middle bow, legato sound. All right, let's look at exercise 2. So exercise 2 is the same notes, but descending. So we're starting, in this case, with fourth finger, which we can check with that open C string. Starting with fourth finger and going down in groups of 4. So here we are. 1, 2, ready, play. 4, 3, open G, 4 again, 3, 1, open G. All right, hopefully that wasn't too hard for you. The one thing you will notice using your fingers on the G string now is, and you probably have felt this, is it takes a little more pressure to push this G string down than it did the D, and especially than it did the A. The string is thicker, it's fatter, so it takes a little more strength, a little more pressure to push it down and get a good sound. So if you're getting a sound like this, say with fourth finger, that means I am not making good contact between the string and the fingerboard, and I have to push down harder. So I'll show you the difference. Poor contact, good contact, poor, good. So if you're hearing that where it's not really speaking to a specific pitch, or it's seeming low, or the string isn't vibrating well, that's almost certainly going to be because you're not fully pressing down. And remember that we can use our other fingers to assist. We're not having to play just fourth finger. In fact, we don't want to do that. We want to put all four fingers down right now, and that makes it easier to depress the string. All right, let's take a look at exercise 3. So now we're just going to go up in groups of 2 notes a couple of times, and then down in groups of 2 notes. So just the same sort of thing that we've been doing. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and G. 1, 3, 4. Same thing again. G. 1, 3. Stay there. 4, 3, 1. G. Back to 4, 3, 1, and G. And of course, if you need to do these exercises slower, that's fine. Just, always can pause the video, go at your own tempo. But I suspect by this point that you're able to change these fingers at a decent speed now, that we won't have to go super slow. So that's exercise 3. Exercise 4, we're just going to now make it slightly more moving in the left hand. So we're going to go up twice, down twice, up, and then up, down, as you can see from the exercise. So here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. G, 1, 3, 4. G, 1, 3, 4. Now down. 3, 1, G, 4, 3, 1, G. Now up and down. And up and down. All right, so again, now this is kind of half of a scale pattern, the lower half of the G major scale, just practicing going up and down. So when you're comfortable with that, when you can do those cleanly and smoothly, you're ready to go on to the next one, which will be exercise 5. Now, with exercise 5, we begin some arpeggiated patterns instead of just the scale. So remember, the scale pattern, a scale pattern is when we move stepwise, notes by notes. Step, step, step. With an arpeggio, we're going to be skipping notes. So I might have something like, that would be a long 2-octave G major arpeggio. So here we'll be doing open, and then 3, and then 1 and 4, which is really all we can do if we're staying on the G string. So let's read this one. 1, 2, ready, and G, 3, G, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4, turn it around, 3, G, 3, G, 1, 4, 3, 1, G. There you go. So some basic arpeggiated patterns on the G string for exercise 5. All right, 3 more exercises to go, and we're going to stay with our theme of arpeggiation, working again with now just reversing these, starting from fingered notes and going down, and mixing the patterns up a little bit. So here we are, starting 3G and then 4-1. 1, 2, ready, and 3, G, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, G, 3, G, 4, 1, so scale 4, 3, 1, G. right, so a tiny little scale pattern there at the end. Again, if you need to, pause and practice this one, especially to work on the reading, the note reading, and getting used to reading these notes on the G string. And you can go back and play along or go more slowly if you need to. Two more. So let's look at exercise 7. All right, so this one is working off of the open string, 2-fingered notes. So we're playing G to 1, G to 3, G to 4, and then 4 to G, 3 to G, and 1 to G. And again, each pattern basically takes up one measure. 1, 2, ready, and G, 1, G, 3, G, 4, G, G, 4, 4, G, 3, G, 1, G, 1, G, rest. So this is a good one, especially for paying attention to not losing the vertical position of your hand, right? Because that's the problem anytime we're going back and forth between the open string and fingered notes, and we're raising all of our fingers, we really have to keep that thumb in place and keep those fingers close and ready to drop up and down like little hammers, so that we don't have this happen. Right, where I'm not able to play the same note twice, it's out of tune, because my hand is moving vertically up and down the neck of the cello. So we're really working on this. See it more clearly with third finger. That very controlled up and down of the finger, not moving off of the exact note position. So these are really, anytime we're going from a open to a fingered note repeatedly and changing the finger pattern as we go back and forth to the open, it's a really good exercise to really pay attention and concentrate on minimizing the movement also of the fingers, so we're not going way up into the air. Because the further away we go from the instrument, right, the harder it is to automatically find that note in tune. If my hand is in position, if I've set up correctly and I'm making small motions here, then I should pretty much stay in tune. So if I take my hand completely away, obviously I have to find it again, either by checking or just by feel from years of playing. All right, one more exercise, and this will be just a slightly more complicated, and I can't get it onto the screen. Doesn't want to scroll. Let's see, how are we going to do that? Okay, I've gotten it onto the screen. So now we will play this exercise 8. This is the most complicated of them because there are hardly any repeated notes. So we've been doing patterns of 4, patterns of 2. Now we're really going to move around. And then a reverse pattern going down. So we'll go slowly on this one. You can, of course, speed up as you get to learn it. And in fact, we'll talk about that in a moment, about how to practice these to make them more or less challenging. But let's play through it once slowly. 1, 2, ready, and G. 3, 1, 4, 3, G, 4, 1, 3, 1, G. 4, 1, 3, G, 1, 4, G, 3, 4, G, 1, G. All right, this is a very good exercise for this basic dexterity of being able able to move around, change fingers quickly and responsively on the individual string without getting tangled up in your own fingers. So how do we make these easier? How do we make them harder? Let's just take this exercise, but you can do this with almost any of them in one way or another. So if I need to make this easier, the most obvious thing to do, really the only thing to do, is to go more slowly. So G, 3, I'll go as slowly as I need to allow my left hand the time to make the changes. Now, that's not only a left hand exercise. I might want to challenge my right hand with really long, slow bows. So even if my left hand is quite capable of playing this, I might really slow it down. Really go frog to tip to try to work on that sound. So it depends on what I'm trying to do. That's harder for the right hand, easier for the left hand. Now, if I'm finding that these are very easy to play, then there's two things that we can do to make them more challenging as you're getting comfortable reading these notes and playing them. One is, of course, to go faster. Right? Anything that you can do, as long as you can go evenly. So if you're speeding up and slowing down, then that's too fast. If you're going like you're pressing on the accelerator and taking off, pressing the accelerator, that means you're not ready for that speed. So find the speed that you can play evenly with a steady beat. All right, one other thing that we can do here, and I'm just going to take the music off the string and adjust my camera slightly. One other thing that we can do here to make a new challenge out of this is, of course, to change the bowing a little. So instead of all separate, I could start grouping these in slurs of two notes. So O, 3, 1, 4, 3, O, 4, 1. Now these are two Gs, so I just hold them for a half note. And I can even combine slurs with speed to make it even more challenging. Or if I really wanted to be ambitious, I could slur four notes together. So there's just a couple of simple ways to take any kind of exercise like this that you're working on, especially that has even note patterns, pretty much like all quarters or all eighths, and to make it easier by slowing down, or to make it more challenging by speeding up, by adding slurs, or by adding slurs and speed. And you could even do other bow patterns. We could do, on a piece that's all quarters like this, we could do two slurred and two separate. Slur, separate, slur, separate. Or reverse, two separate, two slurred. All of those are really good ways to sort of challenge your mind, because it won't be written into the part, right? You're having to remember to do it. So you don't have the slurs in front of you. You have to decide what your bow pattern is going to be, and discipline yourself to be able to read the notes, play the left-hand part, and do a essentially unwritten bowing from memory. All right, one other thing which I'll say about practicing this part is I will add in the playlist, the next video will be just a G drone track. So we used this before. We did a D drone before, and I think maybe an A drone, and this we'll just have this. Hopefully in tune. have several minutes of that big, massive G5 chord, G's and D's in there, like that kind of chord to play. And these exercises, if you're having any intonation problem at all, or you just want to feel kind of the tonality of the G, you can play these exercises along with that drone track. The ones that you're really going to hear the intonation on will be third finger, of course, because that is going to give you the difference between the major third there, or if you're low, it's going to sound out of tune, or if you're high, it's going to sound out of tune. So you'll be able to tune that major third with the third finger, and then of course the fourth finger, which will be a perfect fourth to the open G. So that's another one that will be very obviously, it'll be very obvious to you if it's out of tune. It won't sound good. So you can practice with the G drone track, and you can even make up your own patterns on the G string. Anything you want to, just playing, with the G and the drone and notes on the G. And if you want to kind of get ahead a little bit, since we already know how to play second finger, you could even do some playing with second finger on the G. This would be a B flat. You remember in some previous lessons we worked on the differing third and second finger on the D string and the A string, and we'll get to that as well on the G pretty quickly here. But if you want to, like I said, just experiment with that, you can hear the difference between those B flats with two and B naturals with third finger. So practice hard, and we'll see you next time.